Kuro is 2D free map dark fantasy JRPG with a good linear storyline and a world building that took me 40 hours to finish. It is developed by Forest for PlayStation on 1997, and strangely enough, this is the only game that is not a dog video game developed by Forest. I only found out about this after I played the game, so no wonder why it felt strange with certain things the game was tackling at times. But that's the intro, and this is Kuro. The game starts with a mystery. You are looking into a ship's mirror during a violent storm, seemingly talking to a witch off screen. The voice sounds like a man's,
どうやら俺はこの国に嫌われてるらしい。
but when the screen transitions, it turns out it's actually a woman.
何これ
This woman, who we learn is named Shinobu, has survived the shipwreck and was saved by the thief named Ennis. Shinobu is from the east and was carrying a special sword meant for a worthy swordsman. But now Ennis has it, and she tells Shinobu she can have the sword back, but only if she retrieves a green gem from the nobleman's mansion south of this port town or vine. People here are staring at Shinobu because her black hair and eyes are incredibly rare in this land of Crimson, and all Vine's ships are all grounded because of the storm for now. Luckily, the noble mansion is actually hiring guards to protect its treasure, that very same green gem, due to the recent thief rumors. So you can just walk right in by saying you are there for the job. Once inside, you will see the gem is all safe and well, but the moment you leave the room, guards come running, accusing you of stealing it. And just like that, your first battle begins. Kuro looks like your average JRPG at first glance, but it has a unique twist to its game presentation and quality of life features that were way ahead of their time, even compared to other JRPGs of that era. The battles are more about a visual spectacle with cool animation than a complex strategy and team composition. Though it is not to say that this is an easy game by any means, because it is not, and you will see why later. But let's take a look at the menu for now. We have HP and MP. SD show your status, whether you are normal or poison or asleep, etc, etc. Next we have fight, magic, defense, item, weapon, and retreat. You can change weapon mid-battle, and this is crucial because some fights are literally impossible to win unless you use the right weapon. Because Kuro is one of those games that reward you for paying close attention to its story details. You will find yourself using magic or skills more than you will attack normally in Kuro, and defending less you recover a good amount of HP and MP. Now that's very new to me, because in this game you actually recover HP and MP as you walk around the game, and even inside battles when you defend. This makes ins pretty much useless except for some story moments. So don't even think about MP management, and just spam your best spells and skills to keep the action moving. For now, your only magic attack is shooting paper bursts at the enemy. Use that to get through a few fights until you meet a swordman. This guy is awesome. He can slice magic attacks right out the air. He also introduced sword skills, which are different from magic attacks. The sword animations are so cool to watch, and they are much faster to use than to cast regular magic. But I got tired of seeing them after a few times, so I speed them up later in the game. This fight is actually scripted, so you will lose no matter what. After the battle, Shinobu makes a quick escape using some ninja paper tricks. Now back with Ennis, she thanks you for creating a distraction so she could steal the gem. True to her word, she gives Shinobu her sword back. Then Ennis hands the city pass to Shinobu and suggests she head to Bakluda next, hinting that if she is looking for a worthy swordsman, that's where most of the knights are. Show the pass to the guards and you are in Bakluda. You are supposed to go to the library, but this guy won't let you go upstairs unless you have a book to sell to the researcher. As you explore, you learn that nobles and rich people have a thing for the higher places and enjoy looking down on lower area. You will also hear about nobles dispatching a research team which some elders are against, fearing it will anger the spirits. The weapon shop tells you that the reason for having only a few selections is because they have been living in peace for the longest time. In the bar, you will hear a cave to the southwest. On the far left of the city, there are vacant houses for rent. While most guards and nobles are rude to you, the mayor is well-mannered and a good person. I got a little stuck here, but I figured out I needed to go to the cave I heard about in the bar to find a book for the library. Inside the cave, you will see researchers milling about. If you search carefully, you will find a chest which is guarded by a giant insect. Shooting a few paper birds at this insect will do the trick. Back at the library, now that you have the book to sell, the guard lets you go upstairs where the researcher will buy your book, but only after demanding half of the money you can get from selling it. Then you meet the researcher named Lee. At least that's what Google Translate told me anyway. Just letting you know, I might be getting some of the names wrong, so please bear with me. In this library, you can also spend time reading books to learn about Kryzan's law and war building, but here's the summary. Water is the key to unlocking the secret of the ruins. Kryzan was invaded by knights and nobles from another continent who drove the indigenous people to remote areas. The country is 80% mountains and relies heavily on mining. Important locations include 4 ruins: Blood Dragon Cave, Megalog, a lake, and a valley. Also, this city, Bakluda, and a buried city called Zad, which is said to be inside the Black Dragon Cave, are also important. And there is a noble tower and a forest island, both of which has spiritual significance for the indigenous people. We also get to know Kryzan itself is a one big barrier designed to see away a black dragon, using magic similar to what Shinobu used from her home country in the east. And here is a direct translation of a history book. Long ago, before this land was called Kryzan, it lay dormant at the bottom of the deep cavern. Day after day, people prayed to the spirits that Black Dragon would never awaken. For a while, peace remained. But then a prophet arrived from the east, saying, "Awaken the one deeds within the earth. He will bring great disaster, but also great evolution." No one believed him, and they stoned him to death. Years later, when the prophecy was forgotten, fierce knights arrived from across the city and quickly took over. He began to slaughter the people who had no way to fight back. Just as all hope seemed lost, a mysterious power began to grow within them. This was the evolution brought by the very disaster they had once feared. Then here are some of the extra info. Zad was built underground as a final barrier near the Black Dragon. The dragon was sealed with 3 seals. 2 are known, the third one is mystery. The nobles censor books, and they seem to be keeping a certain secret from the public. Finding forbidden books lets you learn special spells as you level up. The Black Dragon name is Liban, but I'm just gonna call it Black Dragon. But that's all the lore time I have for you guys, at least for now. Kuro tells a very linear, tightly paced story. It took me about 40 hours to beat because I had to look up a lot of Japanese kanji, but if you are fluent, you can probably finish it in around 20 hours. After reading books, we may read properly. She is a 16-year-old genius leading the research team, and she works for the feudal lord Yuban. V says she knows about black hair, black eyed girl who looks just like Shinobu, discovered in the ruins. Then she offers to reveal the location, but if only Shinobu shares what she knows about the ruins and her sword. Shinobu refuses, but Ri is a good person, so she tells her anyway. Then she gives you a head as a pass to get inside the castle and tells Shinobu to head underground to find the girl. On your way out, just tell the guy you are able to sell the book and leave. Inside the castle, the knight will list a bunch of rules, but just ignore them and head straight down. The castle layout is confusing on purpose, meant to disorient invader, so take your time to learn this place as you'll be back here a lot. This game invokes a lot of backtracking, but a really light quality of feature is that the random encounter rate in earlier areas drops as you level up, and this is a huge blessing when you have to backtrack a lot later in the game. In the underground, tell the researcher here to open the door, and inside you will see the black hair girl you will be finding, and this concludes the Shinobu part of the story. Then the game switched the perspective on the man whose voice we heard at the very start. His name is Caius. He is Swarovski and he is on his training arc of his own. And this character starts in Valley Ruins, which is located to the north of Irvine town, alongside with the witch and her mirror. After leaving the Valley Ruins and fighting through a marshland and a giant crayfish, Caius finds himself back in the Irvine. The mayor can be found at the noble mansion and he will ask you to defeat a sea throw in the marshland in exchange for the pass to Bakluda. Do that, and while you are at it, check out the forest island where researchers are looking for a cave entrance, and only you are satisfied talking to them. Head back to the mansion to get your pass. Unlike before, the city is now under martial law and leaving the city is prohibited. Most people are in dark, only knowing it's an order from the feudal law. To make matters worse, the researchers from the library have been taken to the castle, so I can no longer depend on Ri for info. So what you actually need to do is head to the bar and save this girl who got accused of stealing money from this knight. This fight is really difficult to win at this point in game, but guess what? You need to win it either way, so grind some levels and with some good luck, you can beat this knight. But for now, I went ahead to do other stuff. Next, you will find Shinobu inside this cell, but don't talk to her and just take the item behind her and leave. Because if you talk to her, you get to fight with this mage who is disguised as Shinobu, and you won't be able to win him this early into the game too. Then I went back to the knight, and after a few tries and sank leg, I beat the knight at the bar. For these difficult one-on-one sword fights, you need to rely heavily on the counter mechanic, because in this game, there is a small chance to completely block an enemy sword attack and strike back. But be warned, as they can do the same to you. The knight left after telling you to remember him, and the accused guest actually turns to be Ennis, and it is here Caius and Ennis first became acquainted with. The bar owner, impressed with your skills, offers to introduce you to a noble who is hiring a skilled swordman. That noble can be found inside the mansion on the hill, and while laying on the bed, he claims he has been cursed and wants to kill the person responsible, and promises Caius will be rewarded handsomely for doing so. And you will find the old man who cursed him in one of the vacant houses to the west. After joking around for a bit, he vanishes right into the wall, leaving behind a cryptic message, which tells Caius to come back once he learns the truth about the noble and the country of Chryson. When you return to the mansion, the nobleman is back to normal, but he is furious. He is convinced the curse was the work of someone from the remote area, and he vows to make them pay for it one day. Also, because Caius didn't carry out the original request to kill the old man, the noble refuses to give the promised reward. However, he does agree to share one piece of information: the location of a secret escape route that connects the castle to the jail near the city checkpoint. Once you are in the jail, the knight immediately locks you in and demands a bribe. This happens a few times throughout the game, but don't waste your money, as it never changes the outcome. If you go near the cell wall, you can talk to the prisoner next to you, but shortly after, you will see a black cowling scream from his cell, followed by the monster attacking you. After the fight, you can check the cell beside yours, and you will find the skeleton of the man you were just speaking with. As you can see, this game does not pull its punches, and it can be brutally cruel. After navigating the tunnels, you will eventually find your ways inside the castle itself. Be careful, because talking to sleeping knights here will trigger a fight. They are not too tough, especially compared to that knight from the bar. And if you try to leave the castle right now, you'll run into a shadow knight, but you need magic to defeat them, so for now, it's best to just retreat. Your next objective is in one of the side rooms, where you will face a gauntlet of 8 consecutive battles against these sleeping knights. It sounds like a lot, but it's manageable. After you defeat the last one, you will hear a strange noise coming from upstairs, and if you follow the sound, you will come face to face with 3 apostles for the first time. They don't talk much, so you will immediately fight a monster called Nue that eats dreams. After the fight, they just tell you to go to the top of the castle to meet the black-haired girl. She's the one from the coffin, and calls herself the Way of the Swordmaker. She offers Caius her power, but just as he's tempted, a tiny paper version of Shinobu appears to stop him, asking to help her escape from the dimensional prison in the garden. With the negotiation now failed, the black-haired girl tells Caius to find her in the Black Dragon Cave if he changes his mind in the future. Now head to the garden to find Shinobu trapped in a prison that exists in a pitch-black otherworldly dimension. She explains she knew Caius was here because she had placed a paper clone on Caius' back to track him when he was in her cell. She did try to escape on her own, but ran out of MP and was recaptured. Her tribe seemed to know the legend of Black Dragon, and Shinobu urges Caius to try wielding the sword, believing he might be the chosen one. The sword rejects him. Although the sword rejects him, he still offers to help her escape from this castle. As they try to leave, a fixed battle triggers just outside the prison, with a mage and a sword knight. During the fight, Shinobu makes a proposal. She asks Caius to join her journey to find the chosen one, a quest that will also serve as his swordsman training. He quickly agrees, and Shinobu officially joins your party. With her in the team, you can now effectively fight the Shadow Knights using her magic or by having her enchant Caius sword. These mages can cast magic and physical barriers, but these aren't permanent. If you land 3-4 hits on the barrier in a single turn, it will shatter. After one final fight with 3 Shadow Knights at the exit, the game truly opens up and your linear journey as a duel begins. The scene then shifts to the 3 apostles, who are discussing who to recruit to help revive their master. Then they settle on a man named Salvador, the man Shinobu met at the mansion at the start of the game. And it was that very night that Apostle Rurus appears to him in this room, offering him anything he desires in exchange for his service. You can probably guess what he asks for, and with that, Salvador is now on their side. Right after you leave the castle, you will run into a researcher on the path. He tells you that Ri has been poisoned by a blackjack. Despite being sick, she pushed forward with her research and went to Magalot, where she finally collapsed and is now resting at the inn there. This is another one of Kuro no Ken's greatest quality of life features. Whenever the story progresses, a new character often appears to give you an info you need, so you are left running around town guessing who to talk to. Heading back to the library, you will find a letter Ri left for you. In it, she explained that people who disagree with the feudal lord's research plan have been captured and taken away. She also says she is worried about Shinobu, who disappeared after Ri told her about the black-haired girl. Ri writes that if Shinobu is alive and reading this, she should come find her in Magalore. Also, she has left another city pass with the letter, so take it and use it to exit the city from the other side, finally making your way to Magalore yourself. Magalore is known for its hot spring and fresh water. We learned that the night station here have headed north, taking their captives with them. At the end, we find Ri in bed, very sick. She was poisoned while researching a cave near the Black Dragon Cave. To cure her, we need an antidote from a doctor named Paruman in Dora village. So after taking the contained black gem with us, we set off for Dora. To leave the town, you have to cross the bridge where a mage girl demands a toll. Of course, we refuse, so get ready to fight her golem. The intended strategy here is to spam water magic on golem, but my Shinobu was under level and only have fire magic for now at this point in game. So I had Kaya's use his piercing attack, which ignores the enemy defense stat entirely. After the fight, cross the bridge, upgrade your equipment, restock your healing item, and head north. You can check out the local tourist attraction, the Magalore ruins, but there is nothing to do there for now. In Dora village, we gather some info. Salvador rested here before heading to Barcluda. Paruman is an old man so obsessed with his research that the other villagers have to look after him. A cave in the middle of the lake is inaccessible, and the water gate near the village has never been opened, nor does anyone know how to open it. Past the lake is a remote area which we can't reach yet. There is also a nice windy hill and a house with a tunnel used by dragon worshipper that connects to the Black Dragon Cave. And with that, it's time to see Paruman. So it turns out Paruman is a doctor who specializes in poison and not medicine. And before he makes the cure, he insists one of us has to be a test subject for his new concoction. I agree and have Kayas be the brave one. He drinks the poison and thankfully he powers through it. With the cure finally in our hand, we could return back to Magalore, but before we do that, let's take a quick detour and see what's on Inlet Island. This is a quiet, peaceful village that mostly live off fishing. There is not much to do here right now, and it really only becomes important for one thing much later into the game. So for now, we'll just head back to Magalore. Ri is in bad shape, too weak to even drink, so Shinobu has to help her take the antidote. If you haven't noticed by now already, this game has a strangely erotic vibe, which makes sense once you learn the artist has also worked on other Japanese adventure games. So we let Ri rest for the day and decide to unwind at the hot spring inn ourselves. But the next morning, she vanished from our bed, and the innkeeper tells us she is already back at the ruins cave diving for her research. I have to wonder where does she get all this energy to be pushing herself that hard right after being poisoned. I wish I had even a fraction of that vigor for my own life. Ri tells us to meet her back at the lab for a proper explanation. There she shows us the black gem's terrifying property. It can turn other things black, which she demonstrates by placing a clear gem next to it. This sparks a memory. She recalls seeing a giant black rock deep inside the Black Dragon Cave. She now believes the rock isn't naturally black and thinks it has only been contaminated by the mass amount of toxic substance from behind this rock. Her fear is that if the knight's captives are forced to break the rock open, the same poison that afflicted her will be released on a catastrophic scale, spreading far and wide. Realizing the imminent danger, our duo has no choice but to set out for a Black Dragon Cave located right between Magalore and Inlet Village to stop them before it is too late. According to the researchers, this very cave is where they found a coffin containing the black-haired girl, and once we venture inside, we are met by V, one of the three apostles. She explained that her sole purpose is to awaken the dragon, and the sea door in this cave is just one of the three seas she must break to release it from its slumber. But she clearly warns that breaking the sea will cost many lives in the process. Kaya shrugged this off, telling her he doesn't care since the soul had rejected him already. V just left at this and tells him to choose one of the three doors ahead. A confused Kaya turns to Shinobu for an explanation, and Shinobu reveals the truth. The sword they choose him back at the prison, as they are trying to take his life force precisely because he is worthy of wielding it. But there's a terrible catch. If the sword fully takes over, the wielder becomes a complete demon. Hearing this, Kaya admits he is terrified of the sword, and honestly, who could blame him? When he asks if there is another way to wield it, Shinobu hesitates, unable to give him a clear answer. Seeing this, Kaya drops the subject and they decide to press on towards the sea door for now. Now you are faced with a choice of 3 doors. Whichever one you pick will eventually lead you to the C door, but each part offers a different experience. I chose the left door because it has the most treasure, but beyond, it has also the most difficult boss waiting for you. If you want the easiest route, take the right door, as it is the shortest one. The middle door is standard recommend path for balance challenge. Honestly, I kind of regret my choice midway through, so I had to stop and grind a few levels to unlock new skills and magic I needed for the boss fight with 2 mages and a shadow knight. My strategy was to have Kaya use his backstab attack. It requires an enemy in the front row, but it lets you strike the back row with perfect 100% accuracy. The core strategy in Kuro is to speed up your allies, slow down the enemies, enchant the sword, and put enemies to sleep. For this fight, I put up a magic barrier on Kaya's and had Shinobu focus purely on healing. It took me a few tries, but it is definitely doable. Once you get past the boss, you will find a group of knights who are absolutely terrifying at what they have just done. It turns out they were not informed that the captive had been rigged with explosive by somebody. Just as they try to stop them, the distraction appears. Even I summoned by the apostate. These things are the real pain to hit because of their high evasion. Putting them to sleep can work, but it is not a guaranteed success. And after a few tries, and also after a few turns, they will just leave the battle on their own. But if you manage to defeat them, they draw a rare Eliza that fully restore your HP and MP. So it's worth the shot if you get lucky. But no matter what you do, the inevitable happens. The captives will still explode, completely destroying the sea door. Realizing something terrible is about to be unleashed, Shinobu quickly throws up a barrier to protect herself and Kaya's from whatever is coming. Though I'm not entirely sure it extended to this poor guy. On your way out, the cave is eerily silent because the blood pot that got released from the sea door has wiped out all the monsters in the cave. Once you exit, you are automatically transported back to Dora village, only to find a horrifying scene where every single villager has been killed by the blood pots, with the only survivor being Paruman, who was likely immune due to his unique affinity for poison. He then rushed into his house, desperate to brew one of his strange concoctions and telling us to stay out of his house. But we are here for a different reason. This is your one and only chance to loot the now-abandoned weapon and armor shop. Once you are done looting, we need to head to Inlet Village to see how they have been affected by the catastrophe. The war has now changed. The monsters are no longer your regular foes. They have been replaced by undead and all sorts of evil creatures, and the difficulty takes a significant jump. Even Inlet Village isn't spared. The fish are not gone from the waters, and the villagers are not doing well. Half of them are in a state of hysterical laughter, probably from eating some bad mushroom. My first suspect is that little mage from the bridge. She is the main comic relief character, so it feels like her kind of prank. The other half of the villagers are desperately planning to leave for Bargaluda, but when you talk to this fisherman, he suddenly attacks you and transforms into a throw. At first, I thought it was a glitch or that the game had run out of memory and reused an asset, but no, he legitimately shapeshifts right in front of us. After we defeat him, he doesn't explain anything. Instead, he just tells us we will learn the truth of Chrysan later, and then he runs away, leaving us with more questions than answers. On our way back to Bargaluda, we stop by Megalop. This time, the town isn't safe. Random encounters trigger right in the streets with monsters now roaming freely. After fighting a skeleton right in front of the lab, we check on the researcher inside and find Ree finally and understandably freaking out like a normal person would. It was at this moment, while writing this script, that a thought had really struck me. Hayase and Shinobu aren't really here to protect the sea. Their goal is to defeat the Black Dragon, and to do that, the sea have to be broken. The 3 apostates also want to break the sea to awaken the dragon, and the black-haired girl wants to create a demon swordsman to fight the dragon. So what's the point? It seems like everyone's path leads to the dragon awakening. The only real question is how it will happen and who will be wielding the sword when it does. There is no clear good or evil side here because Kurono-kan operates entirely in a moral gray area, with everyone just playing their part. Even Shinobu accepts the grim reality. She doesn't deny that people will die, and she practically tells Ree to take the survivor to the safer city of Bargaluda. But Ree just keeps whining until Kaya finally scolds her, telling her to focus on what she can do, like finding a way to see the dragon and to save the whining for after they survive. Surprisingly, it works, and Ree snaps out of it and says she will follow us to the city soon, so we continue to the Bargaluda first. Right after we cross the bridge, we see a chilling sight. Monsters dragging the researcher into the house, and if you were to follow them inside, you will find his skeletal remains surrounded by those very creatures. This scene really stuck with me as it shows just how far this game is willing to go with its dark theme. We then meet up with a village elder, whose preference for living in a high place ironically saved her and the other survivors, including Gordon, the knight from the bar, as staying up high hid their scent from the monsters. Kuro Cans, unlike other JRPGs, it only shows character portraits once the character is confirmed to be important. Take Gordon as an example. This is a fantastic subtle way to avoid spoilers, and it's a detail I really appreciate. When we reach Barglutha, we find a crowd of people stranded outside the checkpoint, barred from entering by the martial law. Here's another nice quality of life feature. NPCs will actually stop moving if you face them, so no more chasing them across the screen like in so many JRPGs of this era. This game was truly ahead of its time. If you try to enter, the corrupted knights demand money, but just like before, bribing them is pointless, so your only option is to fight. After you win, you'll be chased by a whole squad of knights, but you'll somehow manage to slip through the gates and into the city. Inside, the city is tense. Thanks to the martial law, talking to any knights will start a fight. If you take the time to defeat every single one in the city, you will be rewarded with 596 gold, a really specific amount, but a nice bonus nonetheless. After restocking, you should enter a specific house and talk to the man who explains the kingdom's command structure. Duncan's knights are stationed at the noble mansion south of Orvine. Crowban's knights guard the checkpoint. Remember, he is the noble we saved from the cars earlier. Ganha's knights patrol the city street, and Marutha's knights are holed up inside the castle. And above all of them is feudal Lord Yuban. The key takeaway is that these knights are a unifying army. For example, when Yuban declared martial law, the city and the checkpoint knights take orders from Ganhas and Crowban only, while Marutha's knights haven't left the castle. That's everything he knows on the matter, so he points us to the city mayor and the nobles for more answer. The mayor reveals he is powerless, as he can even get into the castle to appeal the law. Surprisingly, neither can Ganhas or Crowban. Eavesdropping on them at the mansion, we learn that they are also locked out and suspect someone has taken control of the castle. Crowban immediately blames the remote area and wants to send knights there, while Ganhas argues they need to stay and defend the city. Reporting back to the informant, he rewards us with a password to get inside the bar. Golden Bat appears on the bridge, and if you go to the bridge that connects Barglutha and Orvine after this, you can actually find and fight a Golden Bat for a huge chunk of EXP. But I unfortunately missed this on my playthrough, so you will have to use your imagination for that fight. Inside the bar, a man suspects the martial law is more about keeping people locked in than keeping monsters out. This is also where you will get the 596 gold reward. But we are really here to meet a familiar face, Salvador. It turns out he and Caius know each other from the same dojo, and in a shocking revelation, we learn that Salvador killed their master for refusing to teach him the ultimate technique, Blue Dragon. And we also know that while Salvador possessed the manual for the Blue Dragon, he can decipher it without the oral instruction, a secret only Caius holds. This leads to a tense deal, a one-on-one duel. With Shinobu forced to the sidelines, you will need to stock up as many healing items as you can, as the entire strategy hinges on counters to D-damage, as you will be spending most turns just trying to stay alive. Once you have worn down Salvador's health to a certain threshold, the fight concludes with a scripted loss as he unleashes his signature True Wind Storm and defeats Caius. But just as it seems hopeless, Shinobu intervenes. She argues that Caius only lost due to his inferior weapon choice, not a lack of skill. Falling for this taunt, Salvador's arrogance gets the better of him. He agrees to a rematch once Caius is properly armed, and even tells him to retrieve the legendary sword hidden within the castle itself. Thanks entirely to Shinobu's quick thinking, Caius lived to fight another day with our new mission to infiltrate the castle. Inside the castle, we ran into a familiar face, Anis, who is right in the middle of trying to steal the castle's treasure. She offers to help us open doors, but after all her lies and deceit, trust isn't so easily regained. Caius warns her bluntly that if she gets into trouble again, she shouldn't expect their help. Anis says she will keep that in mind and scurry off to continue her thieving. Before we challenge the next boss, there's a crucial item we need to find. We head to the underground and speak to this mysterious golem. The golem also shares a story. Long ago, the prophet from the east wore a special item to protect himself from Nue, and that item is now with his brother who is living in the underground lab. Following this clue, we fight the night guardian door, then meets with his brother in the lab below to retrieve the silver bell. Just as I was about to equip the bell, I realized I haven't properly explained the stats. So here's a very quick rundown. The main stats are attack, defense, magic attack, magic defense, accuracy, evasion, and speed. The game keeps the item description very vague, so my general rule is to just equip whatever has the highest number. The gameplay isn't all overly complex as you might have guessed already, which is why the main focus of the video is on lore and story. Once you have the saber bell, equipping it is absolutely mandatory. If you don't, Nue will block most of your attack and you will lose, guaranteed. But before you reach the feudal law, you have to fight your way through 4 knights. By this point, they shouldn't be a problem, so dispatch them quickly. This brings you face to face with the apostle Rurus. Caius immediately suspects she was the one who planted the explosive on the captive, controlling them by consuming their dreams. But she doesn't even bother with a conversation and instantly puts both of our heroes to sleep. In the dream world, Newell boasts about his power, taunting Caius that not even the greatest swordsman can catch a dream. But of course, we came prepared with the saber belt equipped, so now we can fight it on equal footing. After a tough battle, we defeat Nue, and Rurus is revealed to be a rotten corpse who has been asleep for who knows how long. Shinobu did launch into a complex explanation about how dreams can create monsters, but honestly, not every bit of lore needs the perfect logical explanation. So let's just go and meet with Yuban, who should be awake by now. The old man who gave us the bell promptly asked Yuban to reward us handsomely. You are given a choice. Ask for the information about the sword, information about the black dragon, or simply take the cash reward. And I chose to learn more about Black Dragon. And so Yuvan revealed the terrifying vision while he was still asleep. The 3 apostles are keeping people trapped in the city to serve as a food for the dragon when it awakens, because they fear that no life will survive otherwise, especially after half of Chrysan population was wiped out just from one sea breaking. He admits he regrets for sending out researchers to the cave, dismissing the legend as mere myth to protect treasure. Then he tries to reassure us that he has an army of knights ready to bring the dragon down. Yeah, right. As if defeating a being of this magnitude would be that easy, especially for a monster that had the entire game's worth of build-up. Give me a break, Yuban. This is a perfect time for a quick but dangerous detour. If you return to Forest Island, a new path has opened between the trees, one that wasn't there before, leading to a hidden cave. But monsters here are unwinnable right now, so you will need to retreat from every single one. Thankfully, the retreat success rate in Kuro Can is about 95%, which is a lifesaver and a rare luxury in JRPG, especially for a person coming from playing Megaten games. Your goal is to loot the place, but be careful, the top 2 treasure chests are trapped that trigger a fight with Shadow Knights. To beat them, use Shinobu's Earth Magic and Kaya's Pierce attack. The reward is worth it as it gives you a better sword for Kaya and armor for Shinobu that give a huge step boost this early into the game. Aside from that, you can also find the grave of Sleeping Princess, which vaguely hints that the 3 apostles might have been spawned from a cast from a long time ago. After that detour, we head back to the castle. Our next objective is to fight the abandoned mine hidden directly beneath it. The game doesn't point you there clearly, and I only stumbled upon it because this omen gave me a vague hint. Probably since I didn't ask Yuban about the sword earlier. Before heading down, I talked to the nobleman named Maruta. He stated blandly that he couldn't care less about the breaking seas or the indigenous people. His only concern are his status and maintaining the corrupt status quo. It's really obvious that all 4 nobles are rotten to the core, with only Yuban and the old man showing any decency. The stairs near Maruta's room lead to the abandoned mine, where we are supposed to find the castle's treasure, Shishi Shinkan, or Lionheart Sword. But just as we reach for it, Ennis appears and snatches away. She reveals that the sword's true power is locked without the green gem, which she has stolen at the very beginning of the game. But before we can react, she leaves us as bait for a monster called Nushi and makes her escape. Luckily, most monsters here are weak to sleep magic, and Nushi is no exception. Spam sleep spell and let Kaius handle the damage. After we win, we discover Shinobu managed to stick a tracking paper on Ennis, and she used it to see what's happening with Ennis, and the revelation was huge. Just as Ennis trying to break the second sea, the black hair girl appeared and performed a body swap. Now she is free and Ennis is gone for good. After that, we head to the top of the castle. Interacting with what's left for Ennis gave us a red gem. Then Shinobu says we need to use clean water to see a vision in it. Again, I don't know how that works, but if it is about pure water, we can find it back in Megalod. When we smash the gem there, it shows a vision of the distant tower across the lake in a remote area. But before heading there, I decided to check on Paruman in Dora village. And the moment I tried to enter his house, an old woman and a child villager who should be dead attacked me. So I had no choice but to cut them down. Going inside the house, the eccentric poison doctor Paruman reveals a surprisingly humane and tragic side, completely broken by his inability to save people he cared for. After that, we head back to the castle and ask Yuban for the permit to the remote area. The request seemed to confuse him for a moment, but he agrees to give it to us regardless. Then you can now pass through the log gate beside the castle and enters the mountain path. Before we set off for another long journey, talk with Ree and she will tell you her research progress. When she tries to destroy a black gem, it didn't shatter. Instead, it turns everything around it into a void. Since the gem is a part of Black Dragon, she deduces that the dragon itself likely cannot be destroyed by normal means. With that knowledge in mind, we set off on a long, winding mountain path. I had a hard time navigating this area because these rock textures made it easy to get lost. But after navigating the confusing trees and fighting off a bunch of harpies at the end, we finally arrive in a remote area at long last. Our final destination is Soho village, located just across the bridge. But on the way, you are ambushed by a flying dragon. Just as you are about to land the final blow, a little girl named Ruchia stops you, and you are automatically transported to the village. She suggests we meet the village elder, but first, let's explore. It's a peaceful place where people live in harmony, some even coexisting with monsters. This is your last stop to upgrade your equipment because everyone warns that the tower is an absolute nightmare to climb and they are not around, as we will soon see. The village elder reveals he knows Gus, the fisherman who turned into a troll from Inlet Village, was originally from here. He explains that Black Pulse is transforming the world, turning iron into black gems, creator into evil monsters, and send humans into superhumans who can transform. This power is why some have even begun to worship the Black Dragon. Next, we head to Seaside Village, famous for being the home to Greenwald, the greatest swordsmith in Chrysant, and I believe you first need to hear from him in Soho Village for him to appear here. You are supposed to commission 2 weapons for 5,000 gold, and he will tell you to rest at the inn and come back to take it tomorrow. That night, you are walking into a commotion outside. Rushing out to investigate, you discover a horrifying scene. Knights from Barcluda, led by Crowban, are rampaging through the village. They are cutting down people indiscriminately, only sparing useful individuals to take captive. The primary useful person is, of course, Greenwald, who has already been taken away by the time you arrive at his house. So to get your weapons, you have to enter his empty house and find them hidden behind the fireplace and a bookshelf. Not gonna lie, this commotion made me really angry. I wanted to cut these knights down right then and there, just like we did in Barcluda. But the game won't let us, so frustrated and empty-handed, we have no choice but to leave and continue our journey to the tower for now. Okay, let's talk about this tower. This is without a doubt the most painful area to navigate in the entire game. It's a classic brutal dungeon cranked up to 11, complete with pitfalls, damaging floors, alarm traps, dark room with more pitfalls, and a confusing multi-layer maze. It got all those dungeon crawling good stuff crammed into one place. The one silver lining is that when you are getting hopelessly lost, you will inevitably level a lot, so in retrospect, it's a necessary evil for the game balance. When you first enter the tower, a cutscene triggers with V, one of the 3 apostles, and a black-haired girl who I will call Hiko from now on, talking about their allying up since they are going to awaken the Black Dragon Alliance. V reveals that Zavador has an affinity for wind, while Kayas has affinity for water. Spoilers, that's the main reason why Zavador can never learn the Blue Dragon technique, and only Kayas can. I'm going to skip the soul-sucking exploration of this tower, as it was my most dreaded part and I hated every minute of it. It took me over an hour to reach the top, where we will meet Hiko, who will tell us to meet her at the summit. But before we step onto the magic saga for that confrontation, there are a few optional fights we can take on. First up is an optional boss, an Armor Knight. This game is insanely strong with high defense, high attack, and a speed to match. It is beatable, but you will need some luck. My strategy was to put up a physical barrier to survive its hit, enchant Kayas, and have him attack when Shinobu summons a giant foe from the sky. The reward is the Eternal Ring, which heals a medium amount of health and has unlimited uses. It is without a doubt the best healing item in the game. You can get another one later at the Noble Mansion, but having it now is a huge advantage, so I highly recommend to get this item as early as you can. Next, you can drop down several floors to fight the little mage girl from the bridge, who now grandly calls herself the Master Witch. This time, she brings a Master Golem. Sleep magic works on both, so start with the witch and take her out first, then deal with the golem. Another great example of how overpowered sleep magic is in this game. After stepping on the magic saga, you will face a dark room full of pitfalls. If I remember correctly, the path is straight left, straight down, then up a bit and to the right. This leads to the summit where we will finally meet Hiko, now in possession of Shishi Shinken that she stole from Ennis. It's almost funny to see Kaius naively ask for the sword, citing the future lord's promise, but Hiko immediately shuts him down. Instead, she presents him with an ultimatum: be consumed by the black sword and become a mindless demon, or accept her power to become a demon who can master it. Faced with two terrible choices, Kaius rejects her once more. But with his refusal, Hiko decides to force the issue by using the Shishi Shinken non-powered by Green Gem. She shatters the second sea herself, unleashing a blood pulse 10 times stronger than the first. Right after Hiko left, interacting with the tablet was spawned Garusa, one of the apostates. Without us going through a trouble to read the tablet, Garusa was kind enough to read it out loud for us. According to her, 3 seas exist. One is on the ground, one is on the sky, and one is underground. Using the sword to open second sea will open water gate, letting us retrieve 4 holy stones. Once 4 holy stones are collected, final sea will be opened underground with the use of black sword. After she is done, she says she no longer has any use with Kaius, as they have already decided to choose Salvador instead, so here comes another boss fight. This fight is a spectacle, and one of my favorites in the game. Garusa summons a gauntlet of several battles in a row, testing your stamina and resource management. Here is the lineup and how to get through it. Starting off with Flyer Dragon, her strongest summon, maybe the same one from the bridge, who knows. Just put it to sleep and cut it down. Then we have Jellyfish, same strategy, sleep and eliminate. Next is Hobby, time to unleash your heavy hitters. Use skills like Gezuka Tensho and Electric Ball. And then throw. Same as Hobby, bless it with your stronger attacks. And then Raiju. This is the tricky one. It's immune to sleep, has auto heal, and the save out bell won't work. So your only option is to buff your party, debuff Raiju, and pour on damage with Gezuka Tensho and Electric Ball. Then finally you get to fight with a skeleton and a slime, both of which can be beaten easily just with normal attacks. After you power through this marathon, you win the battle of attrition. And Garusa is the one who gives up first. But the moment she loses consciousness, the Black Paw sees the opportunity, corrupting her completely and twisting her form into a flying dragon. She immediately takes off, flying straight towards Soho village, so we have no choice but to give it chase. As we try to leave, the entire tower collapses, burying the lower floors. But before you exit, take a quick detour to the lower floors to find the forbidden books, which will allow Shinobu to learn powerful new forbidden spells as she levels up. As soon as we exit the tower, we are automatically transported to a transformed Soho village. Kaius immediately knows it smells like a monster net, and he's right. He tried to check on the cute dog only for it to transform into a big bad wolf. The entire village has turned into monsters. I then found one of the knights from Seaside Village being attacked by harpies, but I remember their cruelties, so I left him to his fate. The village elder is the only one left, but he is on the verge of transformation himself as well. So before he loses himself, he explained that the tower's collapse acted as a switch, opening the water gate and revealing path to the previously flooded ruins. He then urges us to go to the Black Dragon Cave after gathering the holy stones, starting with Lake Ruins, if we truly want to fight the dragon. As we try to leave, he makes one last heartbreaking request: to end his life while he still remains a human. I agree, and Shinobu respectfully ends his suffering by electrocuting him to death. On the way out, we are ambushed by the flyer dragon Garusa. It is fast, so slow it down and hit it with your stronger magic like Gezuka Tensho and Electric Ball. Quick note, if you get a status ailment, refresh will cure it, but it will also remove all your buffs for some reason. Also, since Garusa doesn't attack many times per turn, physical barrier works wonder for this fight. After we win, the flyer monster reverts back to Garusa, who then transforms one last time into Lucia, the later gift from the bridge, before fading away for good. I'm not entirely sure how Garusa and Lucia are connected, but for now, we are off to the lake ruins. On the road to the lake ruins, Kaius falls into a deep despair, shouldering the blame for the catastrophe because he refused Hiko's offer. He began so resolved that he is willing to defeat the Black Dragon at any cost, even if it means resorting to the very demonic power he once feared. Seeing his turmoil, Shinobu calmly tells him not to be so hasty. She promised he will wait until the absolute last possible moment before entrusting the sword to him. To ground him, she reiterates his focus to the immediate task ahead, mirroring the same very advice he once gave to Ri before. Honestly, I was dreading this part, thinking all 4 ruins would be as brutal as the Noble Tower. So it was a huge relief to find that you simply need to defeat gargoyle guarding each holy stone on an altar. They are weak to any fire attack, so burn them down. They will drop a golden needle, which you can then use to melt other gargoyles in your path. Once you reach the end, you will emerge on the other side of the lake near Magalore. We find Ree in the ruins and she confirms the scale of the disaster. The second blood pulse was a near total extinction event because it only attacks lower areas. The only survivors were those living in Barcluda, which is built on the high ground. It means a staggering 95% of Chrysan's population is gone. This time, it's Kaya's and Shinobu who looks absolutely defeated, so Ree takes a turn cheering them up. She has a new theory. She thinks she can guard against the third blood boss by fighting poison with poison. But more urgently, she reveals the Holy Stone has been taken by the Knights as a gift for the feudal law. Back at the Bargluda, the city is now set yet again for a crucial meeting between the feudal law and the nobles. This guy tells us that the ship in Orvine is being held up again and isn't allowed to leave. So we decide to head there and check it out first since we cannot enter the city yet anyway. In Orvine, the scene is heartbreaking, with gravestones scattered everywhere because of the blood pulse. But we are here to go to Valley Ruins, and when we arrive, we find the Holy Stone has already been taken by V, the last remaining apostate. He reveals our power is linked to a mirror, but says it's not yet time to fight as long as we are willing to inherit Hiko's demonic power. She also reveals just as Shishi Shinken is just a normal sword without its green gem, the blood sword is nothing without Hiko. And with that, she says she will be waiting for us in Black Dragon Cave and vanish. In Orvine, we find the knights in frantic rush, preparing ships to abandon Chrysan. Their plan is to save only themselves and the nobles, leaving everyone else behind to perish. And the citizens of Bagluda who trusted them are completely unaware that they are about to be sacrificed. We also learn that the feudal law and all the nobles are secretly gathering at the mansion. Inside the mansion is pure chaos. Servants and knights are running everywhere, frantically packing whatever they can grab. We then learn about researchers that the censorship in the books was a deliberate lie. The higher ups have always known the blood pulse only attack lower area, and they've been preparing for this escape from the beginning. Some even have the balls to argue that none of this will even happen if Blood Dragon hadn't been awakened, conveniently ignoring that it was Yuban who sent the research team to his cave in the first place. But the true depth of their depravity is revealed in Dangan's daughter's room. One is agonizing over what to wear, another wants to delay the apocalypse to see the flowers bloom, the third is in distress because her makeup isn't perfect, and most infuriatingly, one insists on bringing her own bed, demanding they remove 2 or 3 people from the ship to make space for it. We then enter the room where the entire leadership has gathered. The old man expresses his wish to stay behind, but reluctantly agrees when Yuban personally requests him to join them. The 4 nobles, however, are purely terrified of the Blood Dragon, showing complete disregard for the citizens they are abandoning. When Kayas confronts Yuban, he launches into a string of pathetic excuses. He is coping so hard that I actually started feeling pity for him, though Kayas clearly didn't, as he drew his sword to cut him down. But just in time, Yuban offered as a key to the castle treasure vault as a bargaining chip. With little choice, I took the deed and spared him. Then he passed his pocket and realized the key isn't on him, so he suggests we find his daughter Melfina, who loves shiny objects, and probably swipe the keys without him noticing. We find her in the flower garden with Gordon, who is surprisingly gentle with children. Turns out she hid the key under her father's bed as a prank. When we return back to the hall, the nobles are ready to depart, but not before trash talking us one last time. In response, Shinobu delivers a warning. The Black Dragon will punish them for trying to escape its hunger. The noble of course just laughs at her face, dismissing her as a fool. But this old man doesn't laugh. Instead, he delivered this incredible line: only those who stand brave when everyone shakes in fear deserve to be called a knight. Human still remains a pitiful mess of guilt and excuses. Shinobu, completely done with his drama, demands to know where the Holy Stone is. He stammers that it's in the castle, but Kaya seriously doubts he is telling the truth. After Yuban leaves the room, grabs the key from under his bed and immediately tries to chase them down. But the mansion is now filled with random encounters, forcing you to fight your way out in a gauntlet with 3 consecutive night battles, ending in a rematch with Gordon in the end. This is a brutal fight. You absolutely must see with his skills, because if you don't, there is a high chance he will one-shot your characters. The safest strategy is to overwhelm him with everything you have as quickly as possible. After you defeat him, Gordon says he has just been buying time and escapes to catch the ship. And when you finally reach Orvine, the ship is already gone, and just like that, the ruling class has fled, and Chrysan is officially abandoned and soon to be plunged into a total chaos with no law or order left. Back in Barcluda, the barricade has been broken. An alliance of angry citizens and survivors from the remote area has flooded the city, making it overpopulated. The economy also has collapsed. Money is now useless, with only the city mayor's effort keeping a few essential services running. Here is a summary of infos I have managed to gather. An island cloud has appeared in the east, just like at the very beginning in Orvine. This man is already worried about what will happen after the Black Dragon is defeated, breaking the fourth wall by saying that's for them to figure out, nonsense legendary swordsman. You can also find the swordsmith Green Wall in Barcluda, having not slept for 3 days straight. Some elderly citizens have turned to a call for solace. A man named Ferdinand tries to establish a new government, but his chair explodes, killing him almost immediately. An informant tells us he saw a man with a large sword and a black hair get another castle before it was covered in a black aura, suggesting they had special resistant armor. Thankfully, the knights loyal to the city mayor are good people. They found a self-defense force to maintain a sliver of order. In a way, the Black Pulse has acted as a filter, separating those who help others from those who only help themselves. The mayor himself can be seen barely holding it together, panicking privately about the dragons nobody has ever seen. Venturing into the tunnels, you will get ambushed by knights who have now become so desperate, poor, and hungry that they have resorted to cannibalism. In the library, the researcher hints that something important is happening in the castle's dimensional prison, now that it is shrouded in black aura. Ree also has a major breakthrough. She figures they can fight poison with poison, using a magnet as an analogy. Just like how two North Pole repair each other, she believes they can use the Black Dragon's own corrective energy to create force to repair it. But she needs a poison specialist, so we are sent to Paruman in Dora village. This kicks off a long fetch quest with lots of backtracking, so I will just summarize. Paruman needs a huge amount of black gems from the black gem cave. Then Ree gives you safe bag to put the black gems and the key to open the door to the cave. Inside, a hard to see black shadow enemy will run around, and if you manage to catch it, it drops the material needed to make auto recovery armor. Then after defeating a mantis, you take the gems to Paruman, who infused them with anti-black aura serum. Ree approves the gem, and Greenwald uses it to forge the black armor for free on condition you test it for him. Now, finally equipped with the armor, we can infiltrate the castle covered in black aura. You can also try the key Yuban gave us, but of course the holy stone is gone and they undoubtedly took it with them. The real confrontation is in the audience chamber, where we find Salvador sitting on the throne with Higo by his side. He is considered to inherit her power not to save the world, but purely for his own strength, openly admitting that he couldn't care less for the Black Dragon. He then challenged Caius to the final duel on the hill in Dora village, and to make it fair, he tells us to retrieve the Shishi Shinken from the dimensional prison first. Being a villain, he doesn't let us leave without a fight, so he sends out 2 armored knights after us. Spam Shinobu's fire dragon summon to melt them down quickly. Next is the dimensional prison. This area is the test of patience and winding endless darkness that gave me a genuine existential crisis. And once you find the sword, interacting with it triggers a boss fight against a worm. This thing is an absolute abomination. It has the highest HP in the game and hits like a truck. The strategy is a water attrition. Put it into sleep, get your hits in, and repeat. Use barrier and buff for survival, and have Shinobu summon the lightning god for extra damage when you can. After the worm is defeated, grab the sword. But before we go to the duel, I commissioned the auto recovery armor called Bestia from Greenwald. Even though it was meant for Shinobu, I equipped on Caius since he will be spamming HP heavy attacks and taking most of the counters from the enemy. After that, we head to the hill for the final showdown with Salvador. Before the clash, Salvador reminisces about their days at the dojo. In a beautifully cinematic touch, Shinobu stays behind without being asked, choosing to bear witness to this solemn duel. The fight takes place on a windswept hill where the soundtrack only consists of blowing wind and clashing swords. If it doesn't scream Japanese, I don't know what will. This is without a doubt my favorite fight in Kuro. It requires me several attempts as the luck component is once again crucial, because we will be depending on counters as our primary source of damage, while spending most time desperately healing to stay barely alive. I recommend having at least 11 points in speed before this fight to gain turn advantage against Salvador. Take your time to grind if you have to, because this fight just might be the most difficult fight you will get in Kuro. When you finally defeat him, Salvador unleashes his true wind strong again, but this time, Caius lands the perfect counter on the spot, mastering the technique he once had to rely on RNG to perform.
師匠。
人を切ることはなるまじきなり。我は切られぬを勝ちとするなり。
So far, we've seen him cut through dreams and mirage, and now he can cut the wind itself. With his dying breath, Salvador asks for the oral instruction for Caius. To his request, Caius says, "It is unacceptable to kill a human being. I will win by not being able to cut down." In similar terms, it means just parry and you win. Salvador realized that's just the sentence painted on the dojo walls all along and nothing special. But in that realization, he understands everything. The true meaning of the strength wasn't in the technique, but in the philosophy behind it. But he hands the menu to Caius over as he promised and then dies quietly. After burying him on the hill, Caius commends his old rival for refusing the demonic power until the very end, despite his overwhelming craving for strength. And with that, all that remains is you head to the Black Dragon Cave. When we arrive at the cave with water now gone, you can hit the central switch to open all 3 doors at once. If you take the middle path, you will save the Master Witch one last time, and she summons our strongest creature yet, Samson. The strategy is straightforward. Use Blue Dragon, a new technique which Caius learned now that he has the bow from Salvador, to cut the witch down, while Shinobu summons a giant foot to crush Samson's head. Then head to the deepest part of the cave to confront with the final apostate, V. She refused to hand over the holy stone and tries to trap Caius by holding her mirror up to him, and suddenly Caius finds himself back at the valley ruins, just like the start of the game. But this time, he sees through V's memory manipulation. With her illusion now broken, she reveals her intention to kill Caius inside the mirror and take control of his body in the real world to awaken the Black Dragon herself. In this mirror world, V finally shows her true form, a mirage monster with a sight, and dares Caius to cut an illusion. But she doesn't know Caius has Blue Dragon, a sword skill that can cut through anything, even non-physical concepts like an illusion. So spam the attack and she will fall quickly soon enough. After defeating the last apostate, we grab the holy stone and move forward, and eventually emerging in Dora village. Then head back to Bargluda, and there a man at the foot of the stair tells us the strong has hit Orvine, sinking the ship and scattering the wreckage. But before we search for it, remember the old Kaza from the beginning at the game? He told us to find him once we knew the truth of Christ, and now that we do, we go back to him in the vegan house. He reveals his brother was the old man who served Yuvan and asks Caius point blank if he is willing to defeat the Black Dragon. When we say yes, he has Gas, the throw fisherman, lead us to the wreckage in Inlet Village. Gas opens a previously locked door and explains that everything thrown into the sea, including the dead, eventually washes up on this shore. He says you can even hear their whispers. Walking along the shore, we find the skeletal remains of everyone from the mansion, with their ghostly voice filling the air. It's a tragic sight, but I have to admit, seeing those 4 noblemen dead gave me a great sense of justice, though I was desperately worried about Melfina, and thank goodness I found her alive at the end along with Gordon too. But he unfortunately is not himself anymore and attacks us immediately. This is our final battle with Gordon. The strategy stays the same. See his skills and beat him up. I had Shinobu summon the lightning god while Caius uses perfect counter because it just looks too cool not to. After we win, Gordon thanks us for putting his vengeful spirit to an end and disappears. Then we rescue Melfina and prepare to leave this creepy place. But as we exit, 5 undead men rise to attack us. Let's just say these are remains of Dangan, Ganheads, Crowban, Maruda, and Yuban. So cut them down with mercy because they deserve it. Back at the house, Shinobu noticed Melfina is wearing a holy stone as a necklace, which likely protects her during the storm. It turns out this was Yuban's final act, a desperate move to save his daughter, revealing a shred of decency and a father's love beneath his otherwise selfish and cowardly exterior. Melfina, pure out of heart, willingly gave up the stone, and with that, we finally possess all holy stones. Gas assures that he will find a safe place for Melfina, urging us to focus entirely on our final war-saving task. So we return to the cave and place all 4 stones upon the altar. In a brilliant flash of light, they fuse together, forging the holy sword. After we equip this legendary weapon, take a deep breath and step forward into the final part of the game. We arrive at Zard, the legendary lost city. Here we are met by a spirit from the Black Hair clan, who I believe is Shinobu's father, given their shared last name. He bestowed upon us a golden bell, a crucial item for sharing another battle with Nue. This entire area is a boss gauntlet. You can attack these 4 guardians in however order you want, but here's how I did it. Your first challenge is a trio of Nues. Remember to equip the golden bell or they will block most of your attacks. The strategy is to summon the fire dragon and cut them down. Also, be careful of talking to this skeleton, because if you do, a goblin will steal your Shishi Shinken, forcing you to track it down to get it back. Next is Gargoyle Law. For this boss, have Kaya use Blue Dragon while Shinobu summons the Lightning God, and then Midori Golem. This is the tough one. Debuff don't work on it entirely, and it hits incredibly hard, and its counters are deadly, so use Blue Dragon with caution. Another fight is with a Stone Monument. This thing won't attack unless you possess Shishi Shinken in your inventory, though you don't necessarily need to equip it. And once again, Blue Dragon and Lightning God are your best friends here. And finally, you will face the legendary Armor Knight Megalok himself. Buff your party, debuff him, then have Kaya cut him down while Shinobu summons a giant foot from the skies. Your reward for this effort is the Crystal Dress, the best armor in the game for Shinobu. Now with all guardians defeated, skeletons barring the final door vanished, so it's time to proceed to the ultimate confrontation. Before the final battle, our two heroes share a quiet, poignant moment by the campfire, and when the fire dies, it's replaced by the gentle glow of fireflies, the perfect haunting calm before the storm. Then as you press forward, you will see a spirit being drawn towards the black dragon, but I was in a hurry, so I cut down every spectral figure in my path instead of waiting for the line. As expected, we find Hiko standing guard before the massive door at the very end. To prove the magnitude of our power, she decides the only way is to force a confrontation. For this battle, you absolutely must have the Holy Sword equipped, or you won't be able to deal damage to her at all. And she frequently put on both magic and physical barriers, but too bad, Kaya's Blue Dragon and Shinobu's Lightning God can shatter them easily, so Hiko does not put up much of a fight. After her defeat, she reveals that she herself is the third and final seed. Having already used most of her power in the fight, she used her last bit of magic to heal completely, and as she vanishes, all the demonic energy is drained for the black sword, leaving behind nothing but a useless ordinary sword. All the seeds are now broken, and it's only a matter of time before Black Dragon ascends to the surface and unleashes full power. So with no time to even process their current situation, our heroes have no choice but to rush forward and confront the newly awakened beast without their ultimate weapon at the final, most critical hour. Black Dragon has two phases, so try to conserve as much MP as possible for this first phase. Keep using Blue Dragon and let Shinobu take care of healing. After defeating Black Dragon's first time, just like crushing Black Gem before, it will create a void around it, and the void will revive Black Dragon once more. Shinobu reveals she already knows how to restore back Black Sword's power, so she unsheathes the sword and hands it over to the Kayas. Here's the little sneaky thing Kuro can put into its game. Turns out, in order to defeat the second phase Black Dragon, you have to equip Black Sword manually from menu to Kayas. Although even if you defeat Black Dragon for the second time, it will just keep reviving back and you will have to redo the fight over and over again. But you can overcome this easily if you pay any attention to the lore right from the start. So it's not the skill issue, it's the lore issue. Other than this one gimmick, use Blue Dragon and He, use all the items that are hoarded up in your inventory this entire time, rinse and repeat, and you will win eventually. Victorious at long last, Kayas is amazed at how he could cut the void itself, but his triumph turns into horror as Shinobu collapses as she reveals she used her own life force to reawaken Black Sword, and in her dying breath, she begs Kayas to kill her, fearing an eternity trapped within the sword would be a fate worse than death. All the while admitting she still doesn't want to die yet and go on more adventures with Kayas. Kayas hesitates as he readies his blade while reflecting on everything he has cut. Dreams, magic, shadows, wind, mirages, the dragon, the void, and now he faces his greatest challenge. Can he get the sword that takes life in order to save Shinobu? As he unsheathes the sword, the screen cuts to black and the credits roll. So I waited and waited for credit to end, and then finally, the game shows you this picture of Kayas carrying Shinobu away and then pans down to show a broken sword. Now the game doesn't spell it out, so I don't know if that's Kayas' sword or the black sword, but I'm choosing to believe with all my heart that Kayas succeeded. I believe he cut the black sword and saved her. That's the happy ending I'm holding on to, the one that will let me sleep peacefully after this one hell of a journey. So yeah, thank you for watching this Kuro video till the end. There is no new gameplay, no nothing, just one linear storyline that didn't leave any page unturned, and I was able to experience it in one complete package. Though I have to admit, I don't think I will be looking forward to playing another top-down old-school JRPG for quite some time. Because if it weren't for the theme, the lore and the story it portrays from a fresh perspective I'm not used to, I would have dropped this game and go cover other games instead long time ago. But here we are at the end of the game. And with that, to all subscribers, I have to say I will be gone again for a while with exams coming up and all, but promise I will be back on the grind again as soon as they are finished. But for now, this is the end of the video. I'm Nai and see you again in the next video. Bye bye.